Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. G here, your meteorologist with Elite Weather, and we're going to be talking about that weather forecast coming up for your upcoming work week. Get you started for your day on Monday and Tuesday, and let you know what to expect as you head on out the door. And before we do so, we need to talk about some very active weather that's taking place out there today that we're going to be seeing in the first part of this upcoming week as well. Some severe weather out there, as well as heavy snow through the mountains and portions of the northern plains. We're going to take a closer look at that. So a lot of activity to talk about as we're going to be heading into a fairly active period across the eastern half of the U.S. over the next couple of weeks. So let's get started right now and take a look at our first map. And this is going to be our current surface map with our current conditions. And here we are. And what you notice is that all of these isobars on this map, all of these lines here, and these indicate changes in the air, the barometric pressure over distance here. And as you can see, these lines are fairly tight. So what that means, we have a very strong pressure gradient here, high pressure to the east, low pressure here, air flows from high to low. So you see that current, that flow going across there, and now you see that what's called a return flow, or theta E advection, which is that warm air being carried up from the south to the north as it goes around this big area of low pressure over the Rockies. And that southerly flow is going to be contributing to that warm weather that we're experiencing here in Minnesota and Wisconsin today. So we're seeing very warm weather today, pleasant weather conditions, a little bit breezy, that stiff breeze from the south, about 20 miles per hour or so. That is because ahead of that big storm there. But we're seeing beautiful weather today. It's a very beautiful day out there. Just a few clouds around. You ask yourself, it's going to storm? You hear me talking about it's going to storm, and you just can't believe it because it's so nice outside right now. But it's what we call the calm before the storm. But that is what's going on right now. That southern flow coming up across the south, across the entire Midwest here in the plain states. You guys are all kind of experiencing the same weather. We do have a few thunderstorms right here that manage to fire in the afternoon heat and warmth and humidity here across Kansas and into Missouri and southern Iowa. You are seeing those thunderstorms today, and those storms are going to eventually develop and make their way into Minnesota and Wisconsin, but that's not going to take place until later tonight and into tomorrow morning. So for the meantime, you're going to enjoy a dry day during the day across the upper Mississippi Valley over towards the Great Lakes. And on the backside of our front is where we're seeing a lot of snow across Montana, Idaho, and through Wyoming and Colorado, and even into portions of Utah there. We're seeing cold enough for snow on the backside of this front. So definitely a dynamic storm system that we're dealing with here across the upper Mississippi Valley. And we're going to have a second storm that is going to develop here over the southern plains over the next couple of days as well. So we're going to have a double barrel situation with two fairly potent weather systems moving from west to east across the U.S. The northern stream is actually going to head into Canada, and this is going to move east before turning toward the northeast when it approaches the eastern seaboard. Now here we are to take a look at your current temperatures, and we're seeing that warmth out here across the Midwest. So from the southern plains of the Gulf Coast of Texas and the Gulf Coast states of Louisiana and Mississippi, where we're seeing those temperatures in the 80s here and through Texas, 80s all the way into Kansas and into Nebraska here. But we're seeing that warm air advection rise all the way to the northern plains and the Great Lakes, where we're seeing those 70s out there today, out ahead of that storm. But behind that storm, look at this. Look at the backside of that cold air. Now that is that air being pulled down out of Canada and the polar regions. So we're seeing that cold air come down from Alaska and northern Canada, and those temperatures, that gradient, those temperatures, 80s here, but we're seeing 30s there. So and even some 20s, check out the 29 in Nevada there. So we're seeing definitely that contrast there between this very strong strong storm system here. That's one of the reasons why we're going to be seeing that severe weather this afternoon and tomorrow and over the next several days. In fact, so we're going to be seeing that severe weather out there. And here we are to take a look at our dew point. This is another indicator for the potential for severe weather, and that is the low level humidity in the air. We're seeing these strong dew point temperatures down here along the Gulf Coast in the 60s, and then drops off as you head to the north, mid 50s up here in Minnesota and also in Wisconsin. And my glasses are just sliding on my face here. I never had glasses go back. They usually go down. These keep going back, and my eyelashes are rubbing against the lenses. All right, so here we are as we're seeing that warm, moist air get advented to the north there, coming from the south, out ahead of our strong storm system, though that's another sign of bad weather to come. And here we are. The other aspect of the storm, remember those isobars being tied together? The other thing that does is bring strong winds. So we're seeing those strong winds. We got some wind gusts here in the 50s to portions of Colorado. There's a 48-mile-an-hour gust here, but we're seeing a lot of winds in the 20 and 30-mile-per-hour range here through the Midwest and all the way up into the Great Lakes. So we're seeing breezy to windy conditions, so downright windy, and that potential there. We could also see some red flag advisories, even though we're seeing snow and rainfall, but not seeing that much rainfall and maybe not that much snow, but that is still pretty dry through a lot of regions out here out west, and very strong winds can definitely, if a fire gets started, can certainly make things quickly get out of control when you have winds in excess of 40 to 50 miles per hour out there through the canyons and passes. So that is a look at some of the wind story today. And here we are, we're talking about some lightning strikes. There's those thunderstorms there through Kansas and Missouri. So we're seeing some lightning strikes here. And also near St. Louis, we got some thunderstorms there that's producing a few lightning strikes. So that is a look at where our thunderstorms are this afternoon. And here we are with our thunderstorm forecast there. And that severe thunderstorm outlook for tonight. And mainly it's going to be here through the Midwest and the upper Midwest. We're going to be seeing the slight risk for severe storms here through Nebraska and Iowa, southwestern Minnesota, southeastern South Dakota. So Sioux Falls here, also through Omaha. We're going to be dealing with that potential for a more scattered severe, so you have a better chance of seeing that severe and damaging winds, and some hail is going to be your primary threat. And we can't rule out an isolated tornado as well. And in the bright yellow is our marginal risk, and we're going to be seeing some isolated severe and some damaging winds is going to be your primary threat. Maybe a couple of hailstones here and there as well, but that's going to be a better shot in this region. And tomorrow we're going to see our severe weather shift down to the southeast or to the south as our northern stream storm heads off into Canada. So that potential for severe weather will wane there as that storm moves away. But you got a second storm that's developing here across the southern plains in the state of Texas. So we're Houston, Austin, Waco, Dallas-Fort Worth, and San Antonio. We could be seeing that potential for some more severe weather, our slight risk. In the orange here on this map, we're going to be seeing the potential for large hail, damaging winds. Now here we can see some nearly gorilla hail here, so hail in excess of 1 to 2 inches. This area is very prone for having very large hail, so we're going to be dealing with that large hail across this region, gusty winds up to 70 miles per hour, some very heavy rainfall, and a couple of tornadoes could also be possible in this region as well. So please pay close attention to your local weather advisories and your local weather forecasters. And if anything goes down, I'll be right here to see you through it. So, all right. So that's a look at your severe weather threat for your Sunday and Monday. Now, here's the rainfall forecast through Tuesday night. Now, where we're going to be seeing quite a bit of rainfall, it's going to be here through eastern Oklahoma, northwestern Arkansas, southeastern Missouri and central Illinois. So we could see up to 2 inches of rain in this region, or 2 plus in this region, 2 inches in the lighter green here, and up to an inch in the light green. So this is an inch or less from the Gulf Coast down here to Texas, west central Texas, and through up into the Great Lakes and northern plains there, through Chicago and Minneapolis. We're going to be seeing less than an inch of rain. So this is where we're going to see the bulk of our rainstorms and thunderstorms take place, with the heavier rainfall across that region of the Ozarks. So here we are as we take a look at our complex weather system. There's that cold air coming down out of Canada with some of our snow. Here's our first low pressure system, our secondary low that's going to be developing and moving out to the plains into the Ozarks region. So we're going to be seeing that severe weather down here and that severe weather up here. And there's our flow of the strong winds coming from the south. So we have a very dynamic weather scenario taking place this afternoon and through the day on Tuesday. Here we are as we take a look at your forecast for tomorrow. Here is our upper stream, our northern stream storm here that's going to be lifted into Canada. But tomorrow we're going to be seeing that right along the U.S. and Minnesota border with Canada right here. And that's going to be bringing those showers and storms through southern Canada. And then some snow down through North Dakota and portions of South Dakota. So we're definitely going to be seeing some snow over that region tomorrow. Our second storm gets going down here across the southern plains. And this one also is going to be bringing severe weather to this region. In the morning tomorrow, we're going to be seeing those showers and thunderstorms down through Texas and Oklahoma as we get ready to get into our second tornado season that we normally see in the spring again and in the fall, because you get much of the same dynamics that you see in the spring in the fall as well. The difference between it is that it's receding in the fall. You're still seeing the same scenarios where in the spring it starts down along the Gulf Coast, and as the sun angles move further to the north, those systems start to evolve to the north, where in the fall it starts here and drops down because your sun angles are starting to go lower in the sky as you move into the winter months. So we see that second tornado season, although it's not as severe as the spring one, but you do get a second round of tornadoes in the fall as you're kind of reversing that pattern, but you're still getting that clashes of warmer air from the south, colder air from the north. It's just going in the opposite direction, prevailing. All right, so here we are as we talk about your afternoon forecast tomorrow in the midday and your mid-afternoon. We're going to be seeing that severe weather evolve a little bit better here across the southern plains. We'll see those showers and thunderstorms all the way into Illinois and Iowa and into Missouri and Arkansas, portions of Louisiana as well. Might deal with some of those showers and thunderstorms. It's going to be breezy here across the northern plains, but because we have that southern stream storm, that's going to keep that southerly flow kind of going into the day on Tuesday or Monday. So what it does, it prevents us from having a huge cold outbreak or cold snap move across the east, the Great Lakes, and down into the southeast, because we have another injection of warm air by this second storm system. So because of that, most of the cold air is going to remain bottled up across the northern half of the nation. So we're not going to see a cold outbreak down through Kansas and Texas. It's going to remain warm for the most part right now in the 80s and maybe the 70s, but we're not going to see things cool off into the 60s or 50s just yet, because you have to deal with that secondary storm. Now here we are tomorrow evening. Again, those severe storms really kick off there across the southern plains, and we're going to be seeing that line of storms moving through the Midwest here from portions of Wisconsin. We're going to be seeing it through Iowa, Missouri, and down through Arkansas and Texas. So this region right here is going to be seeing a line of showers and thunderstorms along that frontal boundary as that guy moves off to the east, and our second storm kind of tags along right there and gets carried off toward the east and eventually the northeast. So here we are to take a look at today's forecast temperatures and forecast for selected cities across America and in the Midwest. We're going to keep talking about this because this is pretty spectacular to see these 80s all the way through Kansas City. We're seeing those 80s in Oklahoma City, Dallas, Fort Worth, down here in San Antonio and Houston. We're seeing those temperatures in the 80s and along the Gulf Coast as well. But in the Northeast, we're seeing those temperatures in the 50s in New York, where it's 59 degrees, 58 in Boston. But we have a system just right offshore that's kind of throwing back some colder air and rain showers. So we're seeing it showery and cool across the Northeast and New England today. But that's going to move on offshore tomorrow. And then across the Rockies and the high plains of Montana and Wyoming, it's cold enough to snow. So we're seeing that colder air on the backside of this big storm system producing the snow and more wind for that region as well. Now here we are to take your forecast for Monday. We're going to see that snow expand a little bit to the east here, and there's our frontal boundary. You see our front here, you see that demarcation zone, you see our warmth here to the east. Still going to hit 71 in Minneapolis tomorrow because we have a pretty slow moving frontal boundary, and we're going to still see those temperatures. We're going to see a little bit more cloud cover across the south, so we're only going to see a high of 69 in Oklahoma City, 72 down here in Dallas. We're going to see it cooler across Texas because that second round of showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, because our secondary low pressure center is going to be centered over that region. So you guys are going to remain cloudy tomorrow and see those showers and more thunderstorms, okay? So you're not going to see it really warm across that region, but you will see 80s out ahead of it, as we see it 80 down here in Memphis, 81 degrees, and we're going to see 84 in New Orleans down there. So we're going to definitely be seeing it warm across this region. And again, still a few showers hang on across the Northeast from that offshore system there. 61 there for Boston, and New York is going to be 63 with the showers in the morning just hanging on. But those will fade away as we move on through the afternoon hours. And then across the Southwest, temperatures in the 70s, so very warm down there in LA. Pleasant weather conditions across that region as high pressure is in control over that area. So here we are as finally look at Tuesday. Again, we're seeing that cold air not really intruding toward the east. We're seeing those temperatures in the 50s. We do see it cool down, but we're not really seeing a drastic cool down. We're kind of see a kind of a zonal pattern. We're going to see it drop into the 50s in Minneapolis. We're going to see 50s in Rapid City, Kansas City in the 50s, 60s in Oklahoma City. So we're seeing those temperatures fade back a little bit, but not as much as they could considering how powerful this storm was. We're going to kind of set up a zonal flow. We're going to remain cold out across the northern and central Rockies. There are 50s out there in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle, and we're going to see it those upper 70s down across the Southwest through California and southern Arizona. So, you know, that's a look at your weather forecast. So we got this unsettled weather pattern to the out east, and we're going to see things kind of settle down toward the west a little bit. We're going to see a little bit of few snow showers here through portions of the Wasatch Mountain Range, northern Colorado, Wyoming, western Montana, a few snow showers, and we can even see a few more snow showers on your Tuesday across North Dakota and eastern Montana. So very dynamic weather pattern we have for the beginning of this week. We still going to see a colder outbreak later in the week, but the first half of the week, that cold is going to be kind of held back a little bit because we will be seeing a zonal pattern. We're not going to really get to see that dynamic of our front is kind of losing a little bit of its punch. as it moves on off to the east. Our southern stream storm is going to kind of take over, and it's not going to really pull down that cold Canadian air like our northern stream storm would have, because that one headed off into Canada. So a lot of those dynamics went with it. So that is your weather forecast for the end of this weekend and the first couple of days of next week. I'll be back here Wednesday night, and we'll cover the midweek and the week, get you toward your weekend, okay? My name is Mr. G. That is your weather forecast. Thanks for watching me. Leave your likes, comments, and feel free to subscribe to the channel. And you can go to TikTok. My link is in the bio, in the description of this video. You can see your daily weather forecast, all right? Bye-bye. See you guys all in the next video.